If it's okay with it, I'll just kick it off until we organize. But tonight is Wednesday, October 5th, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. This is a meeting of the Town of Dayton Library Building Committee. This is a hybrid meeting via Zoom and in person at prime time. This meeting is occurring over Zoom with a remote participation option. This meeting is also being recorded, and the listing matters are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items may be in fact be discussed, and other items not listed on the agenda may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. So with that, I will call the meeting to order. And just because it is a hybrid meeting, if we could have a roll call identification of the members who are present.
I'll start. Ken Pacheco.
Jonathan Gale.
I think I'm Mike Mullen.
I'm Pat Nails.
Mark Tavares.
Jocelyn Tavares.
Thank you very much. I'm also joined by Joe Shea and Holly. What's your last name?
Holly Roach.
Holly Roach, from Granite City Partners. With that, oh Jesus, I forgot the most important person.
Well, equally important, Ron O'Connor. You can hear me okay?
Sorry.
No worries.
Thank you, Joss. With that, would we all be able to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So just really moving on through the agenda. We're making great progress so far. We're halfway through. We have the organization of the committee. As we know, we're a new committee that's been appointed and was appointed by the selectmen. I want to say in mid-September. So now we're coming together for the first time, and we need to organize with a chair, a vice chair and a clerk, or with any other organization that the committee may like. So with that, I'll throw it open for discussion.
Well, since we're looking for nominations, I would nominate Mike Mullen as the chair.
I would respectfully decline. I am very, very committed to this project, but
Too many things.
I think we have other people who are also very quite capable of doing it as well. But thank you, Jonathan.
I'd be interested in being chair, or if Ron O'Connor would be interested in being chair. It would not bother me.
Yeah, I'm happy in either a chair, co-chair, vice chair. It's fine with me. So certainly if
It's like we want to take the ballot
go
there.
ahead.
No.
So if we need a nomination, if it doesn't matter to either of you, and somebody has to make a nomination for something, I'll do it again. I will nominate, can I do both at the same time or no? Or just one? I guess I'm one first. So I would nominate Ken as the chair of the library committee. And we need a second.
I'd second it. Pat Nails.
Is there any discussion? I'll pretend I run this from you.
You ran out other meetings, so you
Yes.
did it.
Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, we have a motion on the floor for Ken Pacheco, no junior or senior. to be the chair of the library committee. Can we have a roll call? Mike?
Yes.
Ken, you cannot vote on this.
I was gonna abstain anyway.
Yes. Jocelyn?
Yes.
Jonathan, yes. And others?
Mark, yes.
Mark, yes.
Pat Gales, yes. And Ron?
Ron?
Ron O'Connor, yes.
And it's yes, unanimous. Thank you, sir, for offering to step up. The next would be for vice chair.
Okay, so I'm chairman now. Wow, power grab.
Wow.
I've done this before, so.
Go for it.
Ron, are you interested in being either co-chair or vice chair?
Either one. We'll work as a great team, Ken. So,
Agree. So I don't know how, whether, the committee prefers either a co-chair or a vice chair.
I think co-chair.
I agree.
So could there be a nomination for co-chair?
I'll nominate Ron O'Connor for co-chair.
Any other nominations? If not, any discussion before I call for a vote? I'll call for a vote, roll call. Mike?
Yes.
Pat?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Jocelyn?
Yes.
Jonathan?
Yes.
Ken Pacheco is a yes, and Ron? How do you vote? Oh, you can't vote, you said.
And then we need a clerk.
And we need a clerk or a secretary to take minutes.
you looking. I'm not getting ready.
So I'm just taking note that Jocelyn is already acting like the clerk, so I don't want to interfere with.
I was just in case, because these are critical votes here.
Yeah, but I mean, already I can see your diligence. And if you would be open to it, I would make a motion to appoint Jocelyn Travaro as clerk of the committee.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any other nominations? If not, I'll call for any discussion. If not, I'll call for a vote. Mike?
Yes.
Yes.
Jocelyn, I guess you can't vote. Mark?
Yeah.
Jonathan?
Yes.
Ron?
yes.
And Ken Pacheco is a yes. Congratulations, Jocelyn. The next agenda item is discussion of timelines and goals. We have Joe Shea and Holly Roach from Granite City. Everybody get to see the paperwork that was sent to us, dated September 19th. Joe?
Do we have another copy?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So yeah, Jonathan, like, so when we sent this out, we sent it out in accessible format as well, we made sure to do that.
Yes, I did.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So, so if I could, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
when we began this endeavor, which, was, a huge accomplishment back in the spring, we procured the services of Granite City Partners, through a professional services solicitation, and we still, have them, under the solicitation and the procurement that we began to work with, can continue on with Granite City Partners through this phase as well. And so based on, in my recommendation, what we have seen, the diligence, that Joe Shea and his team have brought really to our work so far, I can now with us really beginning, to really get in, to the nuts and bolts of really moving the project forward. I would recommend that we enter, that really we continue to engage with Granite City Partners on this project. We do have a lot of work, just in terms of speccing out, what we're gonna need to do, what we're gonna put out to bid, with both the funding that we have now, the $150,000 that was approved from town meeting, and also the $200,000 that was awarded, and actually secured by Senator Pacheco and Rep. Haddad, in this year's state budget. So we do have $350,000 in capital improvement funding now. But we also know we're going to need to, we're gonna need to prepare and create like a pretty extensive and in-depth application to CPC in the coming months, and I think Granite City Partners would be very, very well poised to be able to work with us on all of this. So. Hey, Jim.
One more seat.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. So I'll just really throw that out there, for the discussion with that, and I'm not sure if there's anything you want to really piggyback on, you and Holly, but.
You framed it very well. I can see in the back of our proposal was actually a cut sheet from our original proposal. So a little flow chart. And I'm so excited to be at this point because we had anticipated the column that you see on the right, which is the renovations, the whole goal of the initial effort. And strategy was to get to this point. When we set out, we thought we'd get to this point with $150,000. Congratulations to all of you for having $350,000 to get going into what we've loosely termed as phase one, which is the exterior renovations, some site improvements, some winterization, and really have some momentum to get into phase two, which would be the interior components. So you framed it out very well, Michael, that this proposal kind of launches into the action side of this initiative, and kind of outlines three, I'm gonna call it three parallel tracks. One is the phase one work for exterior improvements, of which you have the money, dealing with the existing, I guess your tenant now, making sure that they move out in accordance with our agreements, and using Jim's expertise and some on-call public bid contractors, that we've got some procurement documents we'll go over with Michael as the chief procurement agent to get out to bid. So you've got some carpenters on hand to do some of that exterior work. That's one track. The next track, which is the heart of the proposal, is the funding strategy through community preservation to fund phase two so that we meet a lot of the preliminary deadlines such that you can confidently get to town meeting. And then the third phase would be implementing those interior modifications funded through the CPC. If you're a delegation, we'd like to give you another $200,000. We're not too upset, we wouldn't be too upset about that, but whatever funds are available for that next phase, can implement a move. So, in a very wise incremental manner that has been laid out to date by the town, this is the next step along those three paths. Making the building weather tight, prepping the site, preparing the next funding applications, and putting your ducks in a row for phase two. Be the layman's way of describing it.
Does anybody have any questions? Everybody had an opportunity to take a look at the paperwork that we received?
So just really, I should have actually mentioned, just in terms of how we would actually fund this additional $35,000 with the recommendation of the library building committee. We would seek funding from the library board of trustees, from the dedicated state aid fund. So yeah, so this recommendation to essentially continue engaging Granite City Partners. A recommendation would go from us, for funding, a funding request to the library board of trustees. So I mean that that won't have to go to town meeting or anything else. We could do that. Essentially internally working with the trustees. If you would be amenable. Let's see, if you would be amenable, Chairman O'Connor. To that.
Yeah.
Was that a yes? I'm sorry, the volume is
Yeah.
tricky.
Yeah, no, I think the trustees have discussed this and we're amenable to that.
Okay. Great, thank you.
So, when is your next meeting that you'd be voting on this? Do you know?
We haven't said it, go ahead, Josh.
Oh. Okay. So is the board interested in asking the library trustees for these funds? I think we have to take a vote on this with the recommendations that, right, Mike, or
Yeah, no, I would, I would make the motion, that we recommend, a fund, I'm thinking of the recommend, so I'm taking on the motion as I speak, so I would make a motion to request, to the library trustees, that they approve funding $35,000 in funding for a professional services agreement with Granite City Partners to continue on with phase 1 of the renovation of 207 Main Street.
is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Jim?
I just want to state for the record that we couldn't work with a better group of professionals than Shea and Company, so I'm looking forward to it. The dealings with them thus far have been excellent, so I think this will be a really great project, having them on board.
I will deal with that. You're doing some great work. I like the plans and how you got other people involved in discussions of how we're going to lay out the inside of the library and stuff, so I agree with that. Any further discussion?
So, yeah, Jocelyn, this fee comes from the state aid that you get? Does that impact any other programming or anything?
At this time, I don't foresee it.
Any other questions or concerns? If not, I'll call for a vote. Roll call vote. Jim?
Aye.
Mike?
Yes, I.
Pat?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Jocelyn?
Am I allowed to, because it's our money, or?
It was the trustees though.
That would-
I don't know.
This is just a recommendation.
Yeah, no, I don't see a problem.
All right, that's, yeah, I'm good.
Jonathan?
Yes.
Can Pacheco tonight now can Ron vote on this or not? Because he is a trustee.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's up to Ron. I mean, if he wants to wait to have his weigh in as the chairman, I wouldn't. I think that would be reasonable as well.
Yeah, why don't you record me as abstain, Ron O'Connor abstain.
You get that, Jocelyn?
Yep.
Oh, very good.
Mr. Chairman, before you move on, I'm gonna have to go to the other meeting, or the planning board for something that's coming up. It's early on the agenda, so hopefully I will be back shortly.
Actually, I don't think the meeting's gonna go on much longer, right?
Yeah, hopefully, Jonathan, no offense, but we'll be done.
I want to come up with our meeting schedule. If you're gonna come.
Okay, that's all we're doing, I'm saying.
And then, yes, is there any particular, well, number one, is 5:30 a good time for our meetings?
Probably wait for most of them, I'm gonna 5 hours from Johnson, so
So maybe 6, is that,
that'll be fine.
if that's okay with everybody else, 6? Sure. And I don't know how often we're gonna be meeting, is we're gonna meet on a monthly basis, do you know, or?
So, I mean, one of the things, just really backing up with Joe, like, can we talk about some timelines and goals? So we kind of chart out, like, exactly how we might be moving forward with this. So like, and then really based on that really, so has the potential to inform, so how we meet, when we meet, and so forth, if that makes sense?
You can.
Excuse me, Jonathan, do you have enough time for that, or? I need 3 minutes to say, so.
I literally am the second or third item on the agenda, and I know that at least one of those others is gonna be continued.
Well, we'll let you know then, if you don't mind.
I know, if you can let me know, I think what I will say is that from my perspective, as the ADA coordinator, the biggest chunk of my work is probably gonna be working closely with Jim and with you folks. So, I will take my direction on the timeline you come up with from you and work on that part of it. if there's anything that I can do with regard to working with the state on any waivers we need, any variances that we need for the access board or anything like that. Again, I would be working with you folks and Jim on that. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Love you next. Thanks. Thanks, sir.
Oh, yes, John, that's your phone.
Excellent, so, I have laid out some parallel timelines, I'm gonna sub Holly in here. Holly is a Massachusetts certified public procurement officers, owner's project management certified person, that's a big alphabet soup. But there is a process for us to bid the carpenter's services for the exterior facade, generally speaking, what are some of the steps in the timeline?
The first step would be getting an advertisement for bid out in the central register and in a local newspaper. That could be done as early as next week, I would think. Soon after that would be preparation of the actual bid. And that can go out probably 2 weeks after, or maybe 1 week. And then we would need at least statutorily 2 weeks for bidding. So let's say 3 weeks, and the bids might come in mid-November-ish. That might be a little far out. Might be early November. And that would be for, I think primarily a lot of the siding services,
Exactly, that would,
for the exterior.
the way the bid's been structured, the draft is it's got 2 phases. One phase is a carpentry services for exterior facade, must be a licensed carpenter, have the Massachusetts construction supervisor's license, be insured. And they would give a bid for the exterior facade work that is known and quantifiable, that's going down to the sheathing and working their way back out. Certainly refine this with you, Jim, absolutely. But then we've also tried to add in another unique feature, which is accepting rates, hourly rates for the various carpenter positions of a carpenter wood framer, a carpenter's tender, such that if this carpenter is on it, and we get good weather and we want them to do the fascia and other components, we've properly and legally procured them to give them an open-ended award. We don't go back out to bid and run the risk of having 2 carpenters on one wall. So the lump sum bid would be the basis of award and check off the requirements of public bidding and going with the lowest responsible and responsive bidder. But we know we have a phase 2, so let's not put blinders on, let's structure ourselves such that if it is a quality contractor who understands not just carpentry, but also the way to keep a historic structure and renew a historic structure, then we want to make sure we procure it in a manner we can keep that contractor on board.
Perfect, excellent.
Was that,
No. So, I know I woke you late, my apologies. However, in order to do this, in order to get this out, I believe this body is going to decide what the matrix of the exterior is going to be, correct? So that needs to happen prior to this document going out, so we can specify type of fit and finish. So,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, so that means we're gonna have,
Discussion pretty quickly.
well, yeah, and
That's not tonight.
possibly, because if you wanna, we're getting into the winter months,
Yeah.
so I think we should at least initiate the
Yeah.
discussion. That's,
So one of the, I guess really throwing it all out there, one of the questions, I mean, we've been trying to reconcile, for the better part of the last 6 months or so, is, really what, how to approach deciding. Obviously, we're anticipating, a CPA application. And then in order to advance, a CPA application, we will have to go to the historic commission before that, because, to get, the green light from the historic commission, because the building itself is not on the national register, so we will need the local so I guess how do we really thread the needle with the siding? How I can approach the siding component of the of the project, because that's really where we're starting with and from this project. And
So just let me talk about the building and the exterior for a minute. 207 Main Street was part of the preservation consultant Stacy Spice project that we're wrapping up. So there is a final document on that, which I can share with everyone on the committee. That building does meet the criteria for to be nominated for the National Register of Historic Places. However, that process is a very long process, I'm finding out. Because this is like learning by the seat of your pants. So the style of the building is a shaker shingle style, which is kind of Queen Anne Victorian with the shingles. You see some of these buildings down in Newport, you see them in New York. So the shingles in the exterior are, important to the historic importance, the architecture of the building. The building, so that is that outside piece when you're talking about exteriors. Now, I know wooden shingles, probably hugely expensive.
Everything's expensive.
Everything's expensive. So we have that. So we know that that style is historically important. And John, I can also include you on the email, and Holly, if I have you have their email.
Yeah,
So I'll
no.
get it from Mike. Yeah.
we can look at one.
Yeah, so, so that would be one concern, going forward. The process for the National Register, first the Massachusetts Historical Commission will look at the criteria that was just done, like in June. Then they'll say, yes, you can continue on with your nomination for the National Historic Places. There's a whole form for that. That costs, I was reading, for like one building cost for just the nomination would be like $5,000, or if you're doing a district, which this building is also part of, the South Dayton district because of the maritime stuff. It's also connected to Alfred Smith from Newport, he was a builder, so architect, builder guy. So there's a lot of connections there, locally, nationally. So that's a historic perspective.
Okay, yeah, I think this is the town's building, so I think all of our input is obviously
Yeah.
necessary. And I don't have a preference either way. I will tell you that just in a preliminary basis, to vinyl side it with a cedar impressions shingle without doing anything to the fascia or trim work, because I thought retention of that would be appropriate, was almost $100,000. So if we're gonna talk about doing wood shingles, which, cost-wise for materials would be equal or in excess or more than vinyl.
Right.
Plus the labor is much more labor intensive. So you can easily see that cost is gonna be substantially higher. Again, it doesn't matter to me. But bear in mind that the wooden shingles require ongoing maintenance. So we will have to tap CPC funds from here on out in order to keep that building in good order.
What about something like New Cedar, where it's the PVC product, but it's individual shingles?
Yeah, they're, honestly, driving by, you would never know they're not wood shingles. But this is where Gail's input would be beneficial because it's still a vinyl product.
Right. And personally, like myself, I'm thinking saving of the building is also important, so I probably feel like dual personalities. One side save the shingles, the other side save the building.
There's medication for that.
Don't give me the pill of the brain. So, I think it's a discussion that, we have to look at carefully.
Yeah.
I'll share the information with all of you so that we can have it, so we make the best decision. Again, if it could be wood, I know it's hugely expensive, and the maintenance and So we have to consider all of those factors as we go forward. Because the bottom line is you don't wanna lose the building completely.
No,
Yeah.
obviously, we're going to do something, but we wanna make sure that it's the right thing to do and it's what the town
Right,
wants, needs, and deserves.
right. And you mentioned the PVC ones, they look like shingles.
They actually
They-
weathered,
Individual shingles, just like wood,
Yeah.
but they have all different colors and they have ones that look like natural cedar. They just never fade, they never change color.
Do you get all the preservation grant stuff that gets flying around?
Yeah.
Do you? I kind of,
So that,
wonder how much of that we can tap into for,
the one that the state has, it's a MPPPF or something. There was just some information out about it. You have to be a nonprofit building, it can't be a private home. Or it has to, but it also has to be on the state register, which means it has to have at least the designation, not the designation, but the nomination for the National Register of Historic Places at minimum.
Okay.
So we don't even have that for our
Right.
buildings, any of our buildings in town.
okay,
and the other thing too is, I certainly want to explore all possibilities.
Yeah.
Especially with funding, but unless we do the exterior, I can't do anything else.
Right.
The building is not
I
really
know, but I was wondering if we could pull for
Yeah.
that big
Right.
price tag.
I can pull that up from the Massachusetts Historical Commission website and share that too.
That's gonna give,
But
it's
it's
gonna
all-
bring around, there's
Yeah.
delays, there's applications.
Yeah, I'll just get the information so people know what we're talking about.
And the windows are metal already, right? Some of the windows replace.
Some are metal, some are wood.
Yeah.
Would that make it not qualify as a national register? I mean,
It
already that
could-
isn't
it could or
appropriate.
could not, I don't know.
I mean, we're not taking windows out.
No,
Yeah.
they're operational, and
Right.
they don't leak, that we're aware of, so, no, that can be a CPC project down the road if you wanted to do it, but that would be,
I'm just wondering if we're not gonna be eligible anyway, why we
oh, I see, yeah.
going on that road.
I have to find out a little more information because there are very specific questions about, like windows and things, because there are buildings that are, once you're on the National Register, you can do anything you want to your building still. It's just the getting on. Because the National Register is a honorary designation, unless you're tied up with some state or federal, funding that's for historic purposes. You can destroy your building, you can take it down.
I'm aware of that, but
Yeah.
I think if we go through that trouble, then the intent was to try to preserve. it.
Right, the intent is to preserve it, so that's what we wanna do.
So Holly and Joe, I mean, with your experience, obviously, we're trying to thread a needle here. And so, yeah, like with the, and from what I've read of the CPC requirements, the coalition, that really, go into the Department of the Interior, the Department of the Interior National Protocol and Standards. They have the ability to be pretty subjective and leave some flexibility as well. So I guess in your experience, how have you seen these projects really, really move forward to thread those needles, frankly, that really needed to be threaded from a historic preservation perspective, but also from a practical budgetary and cost perspective as well. So that's really what we're trying to, check all those boxes here.
We have, well, obviously, and I'll speak a little bit, and then Holly actually had a little note here as maybe an innovative approach, but I've seen them go a number of different ways. When it comes to historic buildings, where people are certainly trying to balance the look of yesteryear with the performance of today. Right? In like the Cedar Shake situation that we're talking about now, talks about will they hold the moisture in and destroy our historic building? Will they let the moisture out? How do we properly do that? Are they fragile? Are they all gonna be shattered? You know, there are hundreds and hundreds of shattered shingles on that building right now, so. It looks best from afar, but when you get up there, you know, they have not stood the test of time or just didn't get maintained. Then there's the overall arching cost for them. So we have seen committees handle them in a number of different ways such that they preserve the look and the feel of yesteryear, but normally lean towards lowering the long-term maintenance cost because the burden on municipalities for long-term maintenance is exponential, infinite, once you take that on. From a procurement standpoint, and maybe this is very relevant to where we are now, since we've got parallel paths, we have procured contracts based upon one path forward. In this case, for discussion, I'm going to say vinyl cedar shakes would be the path to procure. And then Holly, what did you also propose as a possibility?
You could add in some additive alternates.
And get prices.
Get prices,
So go
so
up
that
on
the
both.
discussion can continue to happen as the bid progresses.
Like that.
And then maybe even the prices might help the decision.
You'll have a carpenter partner on board who can answer some of those questions.
So no real life samples as well.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
real life pricing, yeah.
Yeah, we've had some clients who get a little tricky and they want 3 additive alternates and 2 deductive. No.
Yeah.
What we're basing our pricing on is 1 alternative for the purposes of
Straightforward.
heritage criteria alignment with, you know, whatever that one driver is going to be. That's a relatively straightforward package to put together. And then allows you to procure that contractor in real time, because the sheathing and the fascia and the work is going to be the same.
Yeah.
While we work out what happens on the surface.
No, that makes sense.
That makes
So I guess, so yeah, being like a paranoid person, I guess, maybe I am, maybe I'm not, who knows?
Is it not that?
There's a pill for, yeah, there's a lot of So yeah, just in the, so yeah, I love that idea. So, but so like I'm seeing, but just in the description of the alternate, so like I would just want to make sure that we don't, portray that the like cedar is actually the required path because of, so yeah, then if we do something other than the cedar, so like I don't want to create the perception that we did something other than the required, direction, if you will, like, but we could all nuance that.
Yeah.
As well, so.
Yeah, we can, I mean, I'm gonna assume many of you have been through public bids anyways, we have contractors who immediately try to substitute in a product anyway, and we have to have the strong enough specs, we also just have to hold strong.
Yeah.
This is what the committees have decided on.
Yeah.
This is what we want to get.
But we're also talking about lowering insulation too at the same time, right?
Right.
So is that part of the procurement?
The winterization.
Yeah.
Component, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, siding will be stripped, so.
Yeah, because I have a great opportunity to do that. So are we satisfied, we'll get some information from Pat, we can take a look at it, it doesn't stop you, you can go forward with your procurement.
Yeah, we can put things up to bid, like,
Yeah.
okay.
We will discuss with Michael and Jim, Michael wants the procurement path anyways, discuss making sure that they're realizing the tight package for where we want to get and bring that partner on board.
I also.
think that also too says that you've looked at the alternatives.
Yeah.
You know, when you put the project forward,
Absolutely.
yeah.
It's like a built-in alternatives analysis, right?
Right.
Yes, yeah.
Ideally, similar to Pat's thinking on this, ideally, we will make it look as it was 100 years ago, the building. But sometimes that's not reality. I have, my house was built in 1775, I replaced the windows, they were not the original windows, they were 2/2, they would have had that in 1775. But I replaced them with aluminum windows, 12/12, so they look historic, but they're not historic. And we live in a house, we want double pane, we want all that kind of good stuff, so you gotta do.
Performance.
And it's similar to what the town needs, we gotta see how much it's gonna cost, like linseed oils, that has to be done to the cedar shingles every so often to
Yes.
preserve them, which is a lot of work. And
Extremely
expensive.
laborious.
Yes,
We have a hard time maintaining what we have, so. Not that it can't be done, but I just think it needs to be part of the discussion.
I think all of those issues have to be, because that adds to the cost and time, and the care of a building.
and what was those vinyl cedar shingle, not cedar shingles, but cedar look like shingles, is there how long did they say you last then?
I don't know the company, there's so many companies that make them,
Yeah.
so it would depend on the company and all that stuff. So, I mean, like anything else, they have low quality,
Yeah,
should be high quality, so
Yeah.
it's like vinyl.
So we contend with that, then we'll have Pat send us some information, but in the meantime, Joe and Holly can go forward with the procurement process, and we can, at our next meeting, we can look at the alternatives and hopefully we can make a decision at that time.
So Holly, I mean, obviously, so then so we'd act on this right away, we finalize and advertise and all that. So just really roughly, where does that, just in terms of a calendar for our next meeting, where does that generally bring us to?
I would probably say early November,
Let's see that
the first or
phase,
second
maybe.
week of
That's
November.
fine.
So that timeline brings us to like the first or second week in November.
Month out.
No, that makes sense, okay. So, I mean, practically speaking, we'd be looking for a vendor to do the weather. So all this work, so to make it winter tight in the winter, I mean, practically speaking is what we're looking at. I just wanna set that expectation.
The block isn't ideal for us, but getting them on board.
Yes.
And then we can make some.
Yeah, no, agree. I just wanna like set that expectation so we'd all, just anticipating the calendar realistically, based on that.
So there's still a supply line issue, so depending on what product we go with, that could be a delay. And then, we're gonna be smack dab in the middle of winter weather, so that could also play a factor. Especially if we wanna open up the site, weatherize it, and now we're talking about exposed to the elements, so.
Counteracted what we're trying to prevent.
Right.
I don't know, I'm sorry I haven't checked in, and do we know if our tenant has found a new home? Do we expect them to ask for an extension?
I think we've implied that they're not gonna get an extension.
Yeah, we've been planning on that,
We've
yeah.
offered, we haven't voted on it, but we've offered to use Old Town Hall, if they wanna have their mass there on Sundays. We don't use it on Sundays, so they would have a place to go. We also talked about Zoom. Mass in via Zoom.
Okay.
But we haven't given them any indication that we would be, it was actually 3 months and with addition,
With
3
3
months.
months.
Yeah, I
So
think, we're.
6 months, we really.
Yeah.
It's hard to.
Yeah.
This is the second 3-month edition, so.
I think it must be, yeah.
Yeah, they're already into it, yeah.
They're decent people, and
Oh, yeah,
everything else,
great.
we don't wanna hurt them, but I don't foresee us giving them an extension, because we wanna go forward with this, and they understand that.
Oh, yeah.
They're looking for property, and they're talking about building a new building, so that's all gonna take time, so we can't just, wait for that, so. So do we wanna meet 4 weeks from now, or is that too soon?
So the,
Wednesday?
so the November, how that is shaping up, so November 2nd is the night after special town meeting. The week after, we'd have like a selectmen meeting. Yeah, today's Wednesday, right? Yeah. Right. And then the week after that is the 16th, what looks open, I mean, do you think the 6th, is it?
I think that would be okay, because we should have the
Yeah.
bids in and then we
Okay,
can
bring it back,
discuss them.
okay.
Yeah.
Now, did we change the schedule for the board of selectmen? Is it the following, the 23rd is just before Thanksgiving? I think normally we don't meet the night before Thanksgiving. Nothing on turkey or anything.
No, so we're working out the schedule for the classification hearing as well. So there's also a chance maybe that the board may be meeting the first week in December. So we get our tax rate settled, actually like a little earlier than we do. So that would take care of that. If we don't meet that, so we'd be meeting the week after anyways.
Which is the 30th though, right? So,
One of those nights. It all depends on when the assessors is having their hearing too, so we're trying to coordinate that now. So like just as that aside, we've always gone up to the wire, but we want like a little bit of time to back that up now.
so is the 16th good for everybody? Would be at 6 p.m.
I'll be on vacation, but I have no
Again?
problem coming in. I'm moving the vacation, remember, because you don't want me going next week. We have this
I
discussion.
know we did, I'm just kidding.
So we have to put our vacation schedules in and then we can do meetings.
That,
Only we did.
okay. No,
I feel bad I have to come here.
it's a working vacation, no, it's
I
okay.
know, but still,
No, it's
it's,
okay, no.
So November 16th, yeah.
Is that the one?
Yeah, Gail's bringing medication for everyone, so.
I'll send you your plane tickets.
Oh, I ain't talking. Okay.
So we all agree that, Ron, is that okay with you, November 16th at 6 p.m., our next meeting?
Sure. What day of the week is that?
It's a Wednesday.
That'll be fine.
And then just to follow up with, as I hope you all know, I'm not a micromanager by any means, but if there's any way the library board of trustees could meet sometime relatively soonish on the recommendation, just so we can lock down that funding path. That would be helpful, Mr. Chairman, if possible.
Yeah, we can do that. So, yeah, you want us to meet before November 16th. I think, Jocelyn, we were working on.
Really soon, actually,
Sort of
we want to get that.
Yeah,
Start moving on this. So if the beginning of next week is a possibility, I know it's too late now to schedule for tomorrow. But beginning of next week, I don't know what everybody's schedule is, so.
Yeah.
But if that's possible,
We have a board member away next week, where we've been trying to schedule a meeting.
So I mean, I don't wanna,
well,
sorry,
it's just for the funding source.
yes,
We have funds to pay for the contract, we're just
Yes.
looking for an alternative source. So I don't think it's
yes,
gonna.
like, I mean, so we would have a contingency, so that's really not, I mean, I don't,
Getting you on your timeline is more important than us.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't violate any municipal rules and laws, but this is.
no, I mean, but I mean, again, I mean, we don't wanna string anybody along, so,
worst comes to worst, we'll all chip in the money.
take out my salary.
Okay, so we're gonna meet again on November 16th at 6 p.m. Any other things anybody wants to bring up? If not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So second.
Good.
No discussion on a motion to adjourn. I'll call for a vote. Jen?
Aye.
Mike?
Yes,
Matt?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Jocelyn?
Hi.
Ron?
Aye.
And Kim Pacheco is aye.
thank you.
So we'll see everybody on the 16th.
Good night, Ron,
Ron,
thank you.
Thank you,
Good night.
So I'm recording.